Afternoon, Paul. How did you come to these line combinations, and specifically with Pierre-Luc? What makes him a good fit on the wing with Mark and Blake to start?
Well, there's a bunch of things there. The first is wear and tear in minutes in his first game back. So he's had a big chunk of time off the ice, and the centerman covers a lot more ice, and there's a lot more grind to that. So he did a real good job with his shift length in his first game. We expect him to be able to do the same. There's more to it though, as well. Like, he's still a young man, and he's got a version of Mark's game in him. You know, that ability to slow the play down, find holes, make plays, and he also has the ability to have Blake's game. Right, he's a hard driving, kind of heavy in the corners kind of player. I think that over time, the players that I've played with Mark and Blake have developed that in their game. It was good for Nick Ehlers. It was good for Cal Connor. So I want him to get some time there. The other option is going to be Paul Stastny and he flipping, and I may do that over the course of the game. Put Andrew Kopp back in a real comfortable role that he's been in, and I like that line. I think they're capable of offense now, or maybe in the years past they were kind of a hold the other line mentality, but I think these guys can score goals, so that's how we came to it.
We'll go next to Scott Billick from the Winnipeg Sun. Go ahead, Scott.
Well, yeah, I guess kind of on the same vein as that, but in terms of Pierre-Luc's minutes, is it something you said yesterday you'll monitor it, but right. I guess if it's going well, you'll change and maybe put him to second line center?
No, if it's going well, I'd leave it because I'd be happy with it, right? So we've got lots of time. I won't go into the game with a minute number for him. I'll watch shift length more than anything else. And some of this is just how the game's called. Are we in the box a lot? If we're killing a lot of penalties, he can play all the regular shifts that he can handle. If we're on the power play a lot, maybe I'll watch and give Perreault a shift up there, Kopp a shift up there every once in a while, if I need to spell him off. But I won't monitor the minutes as much as shift length and rotation.
I'll go next to Sarah Orlowski from TSN. Go ahead, Sarah.
Sorry, there we go. Paul, just wondering, what are you expecting this game to look like tonight based on what we saw Friday?
Yeah, I think if you listen to their camp talk after the game, they liked their last 30 minutes, certainly the 10 minutes, second half, that second period. They did both. They were a hard forward-checking team, but their D got really, really active, and they got an awful lot of motion in our end of the ice. So I think that's their starting point. That's what they want to establish. It's also a game that, if you're right and hard on pucks, you're going to get your chances against a team that will play with that active a back end. So it probably starts there, Sarah, and we'll kind of return to a grind from there.
I'll go next to Mike McIntyre from the Winnipeg Free Press. Go ahead, Mike.
I'll just describe the level of excitement or anticipation this is game 18 for you guys. By my count,
Mike, can you start that over again? You were choppy. Sorry.
Level of excitement, Paul. This is game 18 for you guys, and it's game one where I think you have your whole roster available. Nobody in quarantine, nobody on COVID protocol or injured list. That like to have all those options. Yeah.
So I missed the very first chunk of that, but I think I got the drift of it, Mike. So we've missed an important person the entire year, right? So Patrick played one game and then was out for us, and then the quarantine, and we've had injuries, but we haven't really got to a group of everybody being available. The superstition in me doesn't want to talk about it, but it also let us put some people back into some comfortable positions. So Kyle and Nikki like playing with each other, and I think Paul's just really good in the middle. And I've always liked Kopp and Lowry, but I like Lowry Appleton too. So I'm interested to see what they can do. So I'm excited. I don't have Pierre-Luc as a winger for a career. He's a center iceman, and we'll eventually get him to that. You'll notice the last shift of the game, when I went to two lines, Stas played left wing with Scheif and Wheeler, got a big shot block last game, and you're sitting there going, okay, there's something there. And left-handed face-off man, especially for Mark on his weak side in the offensive zone. So there's a bunch of things that I like about that too. But having everybody back, you want to go see it, right? Now we want to see it. This will be a hard grinding game. I don't have a whole lot of expectation when a guy comes in and he's been off for a long time. I just want him to kind of get through the game, but I am interested in seeing it for sure.
We'll go next to Kelly Moore from CJOB. Go ahead, Kelly.
Hey, Paul, one of the things Vancouver has talked about bringing their game back to where they would like it to be is their high forward or their F3 is starting to be a little bit more responsible for that active D that you talked about. Yeah. So what kind of challenges and I guess what kind of opportunities Do you try to take advantage when a team is operating like that?
Yeah, so that, Kelly, would be a function of how do you feel your high forward's positioned so that you can defend early, which means he can be aggressive on the puck carry if you get the right kind of back pressure, but also it's an offensive concept too. So if the defensemen get a puck, you're going to start to see them roll. So that's the term we use for when the D on the wall with the puck pulls to the middle of the ice and the other defenseman goes back door. And you'll see that high forward rollout into the lane created on the other side of the ice. That's when it gets to be a challenge for any D zone coverage, regardless of how your D is structured. When teams start to roll 3 and 4 high, it's really, really a challenge. But I don't know if you remember, the exact same thing can happen the other. Kyle Connor rolled up in the offensive zone last game. He got the puck knocked off his stick, and it was down on a breakaway going against us. So if you're going to operate in that high column from the tops of the circles to the blue, you got to be really, really sure with the puck, and you certainly need a high forward. So I do expect their back end to be rolling tonight and a lot more movement.
I'll go next to Sarah Lesky from TSN. Go ahead, sir.
Paul, just given the expectations that were on Pierre-Luc when he was acquired and everything that kind of went along with it, just with the magnitude of the trade, any concern about him trying to do too much in a sense, or putting too much pressure on him when coming back in?
I'm sure there is. My more direct concern is that he will try to pass the puck to Blake and Mark all night, although I expect him also to do that because he's a really, really good passer. And then, you know what, Sarah, these guys are special, right? He's a really high draft pick. He's been under pressure his whole career, and he will have to deal with it. I think what we are mindful of, we understand, is Patrick and Pierre-Luc look different. They're different styles of players. So you're not going to see the same kind of game out of them. This is a big, strong, young center iceman that's got hands, but he's got some physicality, and he's going to be a real powerful player for the Jets for a long time.